On September 2nd, 2018, Hardel Sherrell died in Beltrami County Jail due to neglect and abuse. His mother, Shea Perry, sat down with BlackWatch Television to give us an update on the case.
And Executive Director of Be Their Voices, and we're here today to give you some updates. We've been working on a lot of different things, but before I get into that, I just want to let you know that we also have the Minnesota Nurses Association nurses with us, Jeanette as well as Mabel, and they will be talking with you all about what they are going to be doing with us as they have partnered up with us, and we're just so blessed to have them be a part of what we're doing to really make the change that is so overdue. We also have with us today Trahern, who you all know is the president of Black Lives Matter here in Minnesota, and he's also on my advisory board, and we're very blessed to have him. He will also be talking about some updates as well as what's been going on with Todd Leonard and MEND in particular. So with that being said, and without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. We recently had a meeting with the BCA where we were able to, and when I say we, my attorney and I, were able to go and speak with them and share with them evidence that he had that he thought was very pertinent to the case. And being that we know it's going on 4 years now, September 2nd will be 4 years, it's been really hard on me mentally as well as physically, just going through the motions of still not getting some kind of justice. And while we've worked on several things, passing the Hardel Sherrell law, and just lobbying and just trying to make other changes and the work behind the scenes, there's still a whole lot more that we need to do. And one of the things that I'm fighting for, obviously, as a grieving mother, is to get justice for my son, some form of justice. And someone needs to be held accountable for the murder of my son, Hardel Sherrell. And as you all know, Hardel, back in 2018, was in the Beltrami County Jail. He was left several days on the floor in depens filled with urine and feces and crying out for help, and no one came to my son's aid. He was medically neglected and left to die on a jail cell floor for 6 days. They basically starved him to death. He walked into that jail cell fine and in good spirits. However, this is what we're dealing with, and we are almost in 4 years, and still not one person has been held accountable for his death. So with that being said, the BCA and what we shared with them and their enthusiasm to dig in to find out the truth of what really happened to my son, we feel confident that there will come forth with criminal charges in my son's case. And I'm looking forward to the day that I get to go before the courts and have my day in court, because my son didn't get to have his day in court. He was there for 9 days, and he didn't get to have his day in court. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and know that we are in this together. We are here to support you, and we are here to support other families who are in situations very similar to yours, who are walking your shoes, because it shouldn't happen to any mother, any father, any uncle, aunt, sibling, child. It should not happen.
Yes.
As you said, I'm Reverend Nurse Jeanette Rupert, and I am here on behalf of Minnesota Nurses Association, as well as my colleague Mabel is here as well to support Shea and Be Their Voices. One thing I can say is that it is important. It is important whether you are, incarcerated or not, that you have adequate support. Where's the humanity in Hardel Sherrell's situation? There was no humanity. He was treated like an animal. If it wasn't for a nurse practitioner by the name of Stephanie Lundblad that saw something that wasn't right and stood up for justice and what was right and said, hey, he needs help. he needs medical care. And if there had been the Hardel-Sherrell Act in place, his mother would have known right away that there was a medical crisis and would have been able to advocate and be that voice for her son as well. And so MNA, Minnesota Nurses Association, is here to make sure that healthcare providers that are there providing care, whether they are in the facilities, the jail and prison facilities, or whether they are in the hospitals, if they receive an inmate, if they receive someone who's been incarcerated and needs medical attention, that they are aware of the Hardel-Sherrell Act and how we can further support these families. So we have education that's coming forward. I can't let you know all the details that are happening, but just know that we have some great things that are coming in place in partnership with Be Their Voices to ensure that families understand this act and know their rights and know that when they come into the prison system that they can be an advocate and know about the health of their loved one. If that release is signed by the loved one and their family, they've agreed to that, and that if they are seeking medical attention, that nurses and physicians and those that are on the healthcare team can be that additional advocate for that inmate in the case they become incapacitated and they cannot advocate for themselves. And we can contact the families and let them know that their loved one, the medical condition of their loved one.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having us, and we're excited to partner with you and to make sure that the families are supported.
Absolutely.
And that those that are incarcerated are supported. They are human beings. Their life matters, their health matters.
Absolutely.
So,
Since in January 27th of this year, the Minnesota suspended Todd Leonard's medical license. However, Todd Leonard is still practicing. The company that Todd Leonard operates, Main Correctional, which he's the owner of, is still practicing medicine inside Minnesota jails, and he's receiving multi-million-dollar contracts. He was in Morrison County. I think they just let him go. Anoka County, he had got a big contract there, but they just recently let him go.
And can I just real quick interject as to why that might have happened with the news that we just found out about Anoka County? Can you just live on that a little bit?
Go ahead, Helen.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, there was a recent death in Anoka County. A young man was there, and they said that he overdosed. But what we come to find out is that there was no staff at that jail. And according to MEN's website, they are to provide medical care 24/7, 365. And that was not the case. Now, could he have been saved if there were medical staff on that night? We don't know. It could have been either way. But I'm sure his family, and I'm not going to name his name, but I'm sure his family would have appreciated knowing that there was someone in the medical field that could have provided, life-saving efforts to try to, get him to maybe be resuscitated or what have you. But they weren't there, and that needs to stop. So
yeah, they were understaffed, and like she just said, there was nobody there to assist him and save his life. Also, St. Louis County had awarded Men a huge contract, and they just pulled that recently. So Men has received over $51 million since 2008 of taxpayer money to provide health care inside Minnesota jails. At least 25 inmates have died in men's care since 2015, yet they're still able to practice medicine. Todd Leonard's actually doing interviews on the radio about what his type of health care that he's giving to black and brown people in Minnesota jails. Men is the largest health care provider in the state of Minnesota, so I know there has been times where the state of Minnesota has been intentional about creating nurses or creating a population or making sure that certain people go into the nursing field. And I think Minnesota has to be intentional about making sure that there are black-owned healthcare providers in Minnesota jails getting these contracts. So the state of Minnesota can help develop black healthcare providers and make sure that they're having these multi-million-dollar contracts. For one, is making sure that we have people in these jails that love us, look like us, and know what we're going through, know that we're not lying, knowing that black people go through pain just like white people go through pain. Black people are human beings and we should be treated like human beings. And if we get sick, we should be treated for that and not accused of lying or trying to escape. And that's not just in jails, but just in healthcare in general. Black people they treat us like we can tolerate more pain than other people, and that's not the case. This is the disclosure form. The Hardel-Sherrell Act was passed and signed into law by Governor Walz, but we know people, the inmates need to understand what this form is, and I think that the jails across the state of Minnesota have to do a better job of explaining to people that when they're in jail that they have rights and that they can have somebody on the outside checking in on them if they're having a medical emergency. So I don't think that everybody knows what the Hardel-Sherrell Act, just from talking to you, even the sheriffs in the jails and the administrators in the jails don't really know what this is. So there needs to be robust education through Be Their Voices to explain to the jails and the departments of corrections on training people on letting know that this is an option for inmates in Minnesota jails.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So like I said before, we're doing a lot of work. We are working more so behind the scenes to make sure that things are being followed up with, and as you probably know, we've got a lot of families that call us and we send them to our website, and on our website.
This has been a BlackWatch television news update.